Hello everyone, I am Vivek Rajab. I'll be hosting today's session on Azure AutoML. And thanks for everyone for dropping in. And we'll wait for a couple of minutes and we will start the session. So Azure Developer Community is going very awesome. So we have more than 500 subscribers for our YouTube channel and we're growing day by day. So if you are new to this channel or you're attending for the first time, do subscribe and press on the bell icon so that you will get an instant notification whenever we are going live. So we are operating in more than 100 cities and we conduct meetups many times. So keep an eye on this YouTube channel for more updates and stuff. So let's start with it. So good evening, everyone. For those who are dropping now, just now. Okay. So I hope everything is fine and you're able to hear me and audio and everything's fine. So actually, I turned off my camera because I'm off of my work and a little bit tired, so I don't want to show my tired face here. So, and it's Friday and it's weekend evening, so everyone must have been off from their work and chilling out. So, thanks for dropping in for this today's session, for taking some time to attend some interesting ones and to learn new stuff. So, Azure Developer Community is actually run all over India, and we in Tamil Nadu are operating in a couple of cities. So on the whole, azdev.confirm.com. So we have all the collection of all the communities there, and we are operating in more than 100 cities, and we are more than 4,000 members strong. So day by day, we have more members joining in, and we have more organizers pertaining to several cities. So if you are new to this community, go and you can just sign up, and you can sign up to any of the cities you are preferably close to, and all the website and the details are present on the website. And if you wish to actually organize or drive a community through any cities, please drop a mail, and all the details for the relevant is also there on the website. Please check it out. I'm sorry. I hope everything is clear and live, right? Okay, perfect. So, Azure Developer Community in Tamil Nadu, we are operating in 12. Vivek Raja, organizer of communities in Chennai, Madurai, and Coimbatore. We have one more organizer, Navneet Gopal, who is also organizing a couple of cities. So we drive together in whole of Tamil Nadu. So currently, Azure Developer Community Chennai has more than 400 members, which is 10% of the total members we have here. And I'm also very much proud of how we are growing through as a community. So, and for more events, please go to the website and check out more information, azdev.confirm.com, and you will find plenty of all the details you want. So I want to just give an intro about what we do in our community so that people who are just joining in for the first time can get to know what we do. So we actually organize a lot of meetups on various topics on Azure. So it depends on various topics and preferences the users actually give us, and also we have experts who come as and speakers uh, to drive the sessions as well. So today's session is about machine learning. So we actually started our machine learning series so that since there were a lot of requests coming in for starting up a machine learning series, especially in Azure. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to get started. And secondly, we are actually a very big network, and the network is not only composed of only experts or professionals, but is also composed of beginners or the ones who are just starting in Azure. We accommodate of all levels of expertise, and the best part is we will give you the guidance and whatever necessary for you to get started or get rolling. And even if you're stuck in your work or your project or logs, we'll help you out through. So that's how our community really works. And we, from time to time, we also conduct study jams for Azure certifications. You might be aware of Azure certifications hosted by Microsoft, and each certification has its own professional value. And we also help students actually to prepare for the certifications and also get rolling with it. So I myself have completed 5 certifications so far. And all through that has been done with help of community as well. So all the learnings, resources has been shared by a couple of my mentors and my peer group as well. And also for the people who are of corporate or of from the startup perspective, we also have covered you. So we actually have experts, developer advocates, CEOs, CTOs, and architects coming in to talk about Azure and how they are implementing cloud and cloud-related solutions in their own company. So which will give you an insight about how really a company works from a top level view. And also, we'll be soon starting our podcast. And if you're really interested to join in as one of the guests, please drop in a mail to our meetup session as well. And from time to time, we conduct fun contests. So if you're actually a follower of this community, you might also come across participated in a couple of contests. So we have a very good giveaways for the winners, which includes Azure certification vouchers, Azure passes, and swags, and many more. So the session which was held on May 21st, there were 5 winners for Azure certification vouchers. So which means they can redeem to avail their certifications. So coming to today's event, and I'm Vivek Raja. One second. So today we are actually at the start of today's Azure Machine Learning series. So when we were planning to actually get started with Machine Learning series, I had a couple of starting points, but the reason why I chose to go with Azure ML AutoML is that there is a very complex mindset that machine learning is very tough and it requires a lot of programming and statistical knowledge to implement the same. But with help of Azure AutoML, there is no need of machine learning or programming expertise, but you can still develop a very good machine learning model and integrate with your application. Isn't that very cool? Because uh, that gives us the leverage of any person, like any a programmer or a researcher or anyone, to instantly get started with machine learning. So I guess like this will be a very good starting point for anyone from here, even though you are experienced in machine learning or not. This will be a great one. And also, if you're actually preparing for Azure Data Science Associate exam, which is DP-100, this is one of your integral topics present in that. So I myself, who I have completed this certification, I can also give you a few insights about how to prepare for this particular topic for this examination as well. So today's session, I want to start it from very scratch because this is the first. So I'll be actually talking about very basics of machine learning. So if you are actually very new, you will be actually enjoying the session. Or even if you have a good overview of machine learning, you can still enjoy it because that will be a refresh of the concepts. So we'll be learning what is machine learning and what are the classifications it has, and what is a recent boom which is going on with AutoML. So what is AutoML like? Without code or anything, you'll be still able to get out a best model. And how is that really done? And what is the difference between the AutoML and the conventional machine learning practices we have? So imagine if you have an automated solution for something and there is a conventional way of doing something, there must be obviously a very difference. And we will be actually seeing what are the difference we had there. And then we will start about how Azure really helps us to start with AutoML, and we'll try out a very basic and a good example. And I will share you the learning resources, and we will conclude the session off. And for any doubts, keep dropping that in your comments. I will keep an eye on it. Either I will instantly take the question if that is very appropriate or relevant. I'm sorry, if it is very relevant, or else we'll be also dealing with the same at the end of the session at the QA part. So about me, I'm Vivek Raja. So I'm basically from Madurai, Tamil Nadu. I'm currently working as a data scientist at Nextend Startup. So I'm organizing the communities in Tamil Nadu, and I'm Microsoft certified Azure data scientist, AI engineer, and data engineer. I'm actually 15 times multi-cloud certified in others cloud providers as well, which includes Microsoft Azure, Alibaba Cloud, and Oracle Cloud. Besides that, my fun way in technical actually lies in hackathons. So I participated in a lot of hackathons in my college and times. I won around 20 international and national hackathons. Besides that, I published research papers and I filed a couple of patents. And I'm also a very active speaker and mentor, blogger, and open source community in AI as well as in cloud. So if you have any thing, you can drop a message in Twitter. So this is my Twitter ID. And also I'll give you my social handles where you can connect and talk to me about anything related to Azure or AI. So let's start it with machine learning now. So what is machine learning? So this is actually an extract from the actual Microsoft documentation, but I felt this is very appropriate to start with. So machine learning is actually a set of mathematical and statistical data models of data to help something, a computer or if anything, to learn without any direct instructions. So that's what we call it as a machine learning. Machine learning is a part of a subset of artificial intelligence, and it actually makes a correlations and a matching. It can identify patterns recurring in the data, and that can be used to actually predict something. So I guess like I'm throwing out a lot of jargon words, but I'll through the session you'll be able to actually get through what we were talking about. So let me break it down in a very simple example. So everyone here must have a very basic, at least a basic experience of coding. So what do you do there? So we have something called you will be given a task. Let's say like you're actually given a task to find square of a number. So what do you do? So we need to write a program, and the program has an algorithm. So what is the algorithm we're going to have to actually get a square of a number? So which is an x square, which is an x which is multiplied by the x itself, and we need to return the data. So when a user enters a number which is an input data, we are applying that to an algorithm which is x into x, and we are returning the answer as an output data. So this is what Nicholas Roth actually explains what is programming. So input data which is applied to a particular algorithm and which produces an output data is called a programming language. That's it. So, but what really happens in machine learning model is that I'm going to give a set of training paths. So I'm going to instruct a machine learning model that, okay, so one, two, 1, 1 is a pair, 2, comma 4 is a pair, 3, comma 9 is a pair, 4, comma 16 is a pair, and so on. So I'm going to give an ample number of examples to the model, and I will ask the model to actually figure out what pattern does it have, and like once the model is like comfortably like says like okay, I will be able to recognize the relationship between the input and output pairs. So we know that it's x square, but the model does. So when I'm actually using the term that model replies or like in a human form, I will actually tell that how we are actually experting, like we are getting the answers of how well the model has learned and everything in a little later part of the session. But let's now like let's think that machine learning model is a and just another a brilliant human being which knows nothing. So I'm going to give that brilliant human being a couple of training paths and ask it to study something, and then I'm asking that machine learning model, right? Okay, you have really understood the patterns happening between the input and output paths. So now I'm going to test you. I'm going to give a number, and you have to give me the exact answer for that particular input. So now the model itself has created some assumption of data pattern, and when I actually give an input, let's say 11, it should give out my it should give out the answer as 121, which is the square of 11, correct? So which means the model has learned that pattern very well. And of course, when it comes to machine learning models, there is a percentage of error, and we'll be actually evaluating how well the machine learning has performed based on the accuracy, like how well did it really answer. Like for example, if you have 100 inputs and it really gets correct answer for more than 90 inputs, so the percentage of accuracy is more than 90. So that's how we evaluate how well the machine learning performed or how well it learned the input data. So that's all machine learning is all about. Like if you have never heard about machine learning or something, this is what really happening to it, nothing else. So let's summarize what we really do here. So we have a couple of machine learning techniques that can be addressed. So there are three types. One is supervised learning, so which means we will give an input and a target path. So which is what we have explained in the previous slide. So which means I will ask that to predict whether what will be the relationship between the input and output data. But let's take an example of actually how a real-time data or a real-life problem exists. You may not really have the answer for every input data. Like for example, Imagine there are social media users, and you imagine if you're an Instagram user, and while you are in Instagram, it actually throws up a suggestion like you can also follow this person because this person interest aligns with you, and you might also be a friend with him. So these kind of recommendation, or even if you go to e-commerce website, they actually segment customers in a way like these customers are more potential to buy these products. So this is how we actually classify. We do not have any output data, but we still have like input and the characteristics. Based on that, we group people, we find pattern, and we actually establish relationship by grouping the data into particular clusters. So that's called unsupervised learning. So the third method is reinforcement learning. So a very good example for this is self-driving cars. So which is actually a hot topic in right. So reinforcement learning is like imagine uh, a baby like which is trying to actually learning to walk, or maybe like let's take a even more better example, a dog. You're training your dog to do something, like let's say like you're training your dog to sit properly. So what do you actually do to train your dog? So you say like, okay dog, when I say the word sit, you must do the action of sitting. And when the dog really responds to that, you give a treat or a treat to the dog. So which means the dog actually learns like, okay, if I perform this action for this particular command, I will get a reward. Or if not, if the dog is not actually sitting for your command of for the sit, then you might actually penalize the dog, which means like you might say like, you know, you're not doing properly. You may not get this actual reward for not doing that. So that is how a dog learns. So that's what really self-driving cars apply. So uh, imagine there are multiple factors which apply. So you'll be actually training the model in a way of both response, like reward and penalty based kind of a learning. So these are like very broad topics under machine learning. But today we'll be only focusing on supervised learning and a simple tabular data, nothing else. So these are like for the introduction for those who are starting to be here. What are the actual benefits of machine learning? So when you actually take the consideration of like the conventional programming language, we actually try a deterministic way to do something, but we can't really predict or do some approaches based on your conventional way of programming. So which means like you can't segment people like based on what a relationship do they have, or you might not even actually try to uncover some insights which is actually underlying in the data. So the machine learning actually helps us to improve the data integrity and enhance the user experience. Like if you actually go to an e-commerce website and you buy something, when it recommends that, okay, if people are also trying to buy this product along with the product you're trying to buy, which is actually enhancing your user experience, correct? So that's how this works, and anticipate customer behavior. So I would say like I will suggest a very good example for this, which is actually a real-time problem I work for. So in one of the machine learning hackathons which I participated, we were actually asked to predict which customers would turn bad or like will fail to pay EMI for a particular month. So we actually anticipate the customer behavior for that particular month based on the inputs like what is credit score and how is paying behavior is for the previous months, and what is his income, what is his siblings, what is the other loans he have got, and so on and so on. So with these, we'll be able to actually predict whether the customer will be able to pay the next EMI, and if it's not, the bank can anticipate like this customer may go wrong and can take any actions regarding to that. So that's the benefits of machine learning. And what do machine learning engineers or enthusiasts or data scientists actually do while implementing machine learning? So first thing is we need data. Data is the only source we can get started with. So we need to establish the relationship with data and stuff, right? So first we need to identify the data source. So it might be for example, like you need to go and find the data by yourself or the data source. If it's like a survey, then your data source is actually forms. And then you have to collect the data from various resources, like sources. Data may not be coming from one source. Like for example, if you're running an e-commerce website, the payments and the web related interactions, or any other related purchase or anything, like there are multiple sources, right? So you have to identify all the sources where you can get the data from, and you have to collect and process the data so that it can be easily accessed. And then we actually clean the data, because like real life data does not have every single detail we look for, right? And so since we do not have like few details for particular records or rows, we need to actually filter them out so that it does not affect the learning of the model. And cleaning the data like comes under that one. And domain understanding is like, this is one of the favorite tip I used to give to all people who are participating in machine learning related competitions or hackathon. The domain understanding. People get started with machine learning because without actually understanding how that domain really works. For example, if you are dealing with the domain of finance, you need to understand few basic concepts so that you'll be actually able to use the data in a proper way and learn which will contribute to your model and which will not. And once these are all done, your data is fine and ready. So you'll be actually train your model. So you, as we seen earlier, we actually give the input and output tags to the model, and we actually train the model. So when I say model, model is nothing but a collection of mathematical implementation and program, which has like both statistic, algebra, and probability involved in it. So each one has its own way of doing something. Let's keep these models as a black box. Do not Let's not go into the details, but we will sure cover that in upcoming sessions. So when we have some model which will actually give you, you can able to understand the data patterns. So we train the data, and each model has might have multiple hyperparameters associated with it. So it might be like imagine like the model is nothing but a method you pass, and the method has multiple parameters, right? So and each parameter has a different number of values which it can take in. So we need to find for which kind of parameters the model performed the best. That means which gave you the best results. Then once you train the model, you validate whether the model is performing really good for the predictions. Then once you have finalized it, deploy the model and you predict with the real in stream of data. And also you monitor the model to see whether it's actually predicting good or not, and you visualize how it really performs and everything. So these are the stages of machine learning. The reason why I'm explaining each and every step is that we are going to do all these steps with minimal effort using Azure AutoML. So that's the reason. So now we'll be able to sync up between what is machine learning and the steps of machine learning here. So I see a couple of questions coming in, but I will surely take it at the end of the session. So what is AutoML? So let's say like you are a data scientist, you have a good knowledge and models, machine learning and stuff, and you have programming experience as well. So you can create your own models. Or if you're also a data scientist who does not really like to code, but still wants to train your model, then AutoMLs are the best for two of those. So it's like it's an automated process for machine learning, because it actually automates the process of the stages which we actually dealt in the earlier slide. And actually it will help us to give a very good model with good accuracy, and also you can understand how the model really worked there. So if we actually explain the AutoML process, so first we will do the feature selection, like we will select we'll clean the data, and the data we will throw out the few columns which is not necessary, and we will clean the data as we have seen in the step one. And once that is done, we have multiple number of models which can give a result. So we will actually try to evaluate with the good models, and we figure out what are the best models it has got. So once we got the best model, we will do the hyperparameter tuning, which means first we will train with the default parameters. Then once you select the model with the good model, You try to enhance that model with various other hyperparameter combinations so that it will give the best. So let's, in this example, you can see that this has 88%, like one model gave us 88%. With hyperparameter tuning, it pushed to more percentage, right? So that's the benefit of hyperparameter tuning. So once you're satisfied with the model, you will deploy it and you can do the prediction as well. So these are all can be done with the help of UI, or you can, even if you have a programming experience, this can be automated with few lines of code. So now you might have understood, like for everyone, like we might for all the machine learning newbies as well as data scientists out here, we are all now on the same page. Like you are now aware of what is machine learning. So what all the things we do in a machine learning process, and what is really AutoML, and what all the things which automates the process. Now comes the real question. So what is the difference between two of them? If AutoML really does exist, why do people still follow conventional machine learning practices? So that's what really we need to question ourselves. So we need to actually figure out what's the pros and cons of going with AutoML and conventional ML practices. The benefits of AutoML is that you can implement machine learning solutions without even having a good programming language, or maybe like good understanding of statistical and mathematical concepts that are lying behind the machine learning models. You can still implement a machine learning solution for that. And the second thing is you can save time and resources. So when you actually talk with a machine learning person, that's a very big R&D to confirm whether the model has performed good. So these all processes takes a couple of weeks or months to create a very good model which can actually serve for industrial real life problems. So we will actually see how easy is it to create a model, and we'll be actually saving a lot of time and come up with the best model in the same thing. And also, as usual, since we are using cloud, we'll be actually using some resources, but compared to conventional machine learning practices, it also offers us a cheap solution as well. And it also helps us to leverage the best practices. So since I have mentioned the word of machine learning as a black box, uh, it might also lead to a couple of things here. So it's like uh, if say that a machine learning model performed well, but do you really know what happened behind it, behind the screens? So, but AutoML actually provides us an explanation why this model performed better, and it comes up with statistics and charts to show that this model performed really good than the others and why it is that. And also it provides agile problem solving. So for those people who are not familiar with the concept of agile is like you have very flexible requirements coming in, and you have to adapt to that and come up with a solution with a limited number of time. So it also helps us doing this one. Now, if we actually compare that with our conventional machine learning practices, we can say that since a machine learning engineer will have an extensive knowledge about how programming as well as statistical and mathematical concepts, and they have to invest a lot of time and compute power to do the same. And of course, machine learning enthusiasts also have their own best practices for data science, and it will be actually very much relevant to more like R&D problems or like very complex industrial problems. But with simple machine learning stuff, we can get started with AutoML very soon. So this is what the benefits we reap out of AutoML. So when to actually use AutoML? So we know like what are the benefits, but let's try to understand when do you actually need to use automated machine learning processes, and when you should go for your conventional machine learning process. So if you're a programmer or you're a non-professional, or if you're a researcher or anyone, if you still want to use machine learning but you do not have time to go with an expertise or something, you can still go with AutoML, which will actually provide you a very good decent models. If your data is too high and too complex, but you still have to do the machine learning process in a very short of span of time, this will actually give you a better insights. And data domain knowledge, the one which I mentioned, that which is my favorite and my important topic in any machine learning stuff. So this will also help you to understand how the data you're using there is the statistical concepts behind it, like how much percentage of nulls or what is handling there, and what are the other types of data types that the data has and everything. And it's a very quick implementation. So if you're aiming for a quick deployment, go for AutoML. And also you'll have a very good functionality to test it out with so many models at the same time, and also fine tune the hyperparameter. So which is pretty good for anyone to get started with. 1 second, I think the screen is a little bit not visible, I guess. I will try to use this one. Okay, I guess this will be much more better, but more bigger font. So now let's actually get started with Azure Machine Learning. So here we are going, the steps which we had discussed so far, we are going to implement it now. So during the machine learning, we will be creating a number of pipelines in parallel, and those will actually test out multiple algorithms. So since we know like the machine learning process involves multiple models, so it will try it out with different models in parallel, and also will fine tune the same for the best model. So, and also it helps you with feature selection and gives you the better model, and you gets the graphs and the outputs and the necessary stuff. And also like you can define your own exit criteria. The more number of the exit criteria can be training hours and many more stuff. I will show you that in the hands-on. So you can actually define when to stop the experiment, because there are multiple factors which can keep going on. Like if I train a particular model for more number of hours, there is a possibility that I might get a good accuracy compared to when I train it for less number of time. So you can actually define the exit criteria based on your availability of your compute, resources, time, and everything. So how does it work? So first we will sit with feature engineering. We will do the imputation, like if there is, we'll understand whether the data has any missing values. If there are missing values, you can just say the pipeline to fix these values. We can also transform and encode few stuff, and also we can try to eradicate and throw away the features which you don't really contribute to any relevance. And it actually helps you to preserve the privacy, as well as it also helps you to and also it helps you to understand what really happens behind a machine learning model prediction. And it also supports time series forecast. So I will show you like what all the supported features of Azure AutoML when we do the hands-on. So the steps to design is like, let's not go with the details, but I will quickly go through this so that we can jump to the hands-on, which will be much more fun to do. So there are only three problems now which the AutoML can do, which is classification, forecasting, and regression. And the platform is like, either you can go for ML Studio. ML Studio is like complete UI, or else if you prefer to go with limited code, you can go with Python SDK. And the data source can be either an NumPy array or pandas data frame. So it's like a CSV. I'll show you the supported data sources. And you can actually train your model in various stuff. Either if you have a good compute but still want to use the Azure AutoML process, but you want to train your own system, you can go for local compute, or you can select any compute VMs which is provided by Azure. Like Azure provides very good compute systems and virtual machines which can do the job at a very high speed. But of course, it comes with the rate and price along with that. And also it gives you the, you can configure the parameters, you can iterate to various different models, fine tune it, do the hyperparameter tuning. And after that, once you actually done everything, you can submit the run, which will actually give out the trained model, and also will explain which model has very good accuracy and so on. So I will not go into much demo. I feel like I'm dragging in with so much of theory concepts. So let's go with the demo so I can explain you what really happens here. So let's go to Azure portal. So Actually, I'm using, I'm signed into my Azure portal. So if you do not have one, please sign up for a free account and you can get started with that instantly. I'm sorry. Okay, fine. Creating a resource. So I'm going to create a resource here. So resources are like the ones you create. So go to resource, click AI and machine learning. I'm going to create a machine learning resource here. So resources are a logical container where you can group n number of services together. So what I will do is I'm going to create a new resource, or if anyone you want, but actually I had created mine earlier. So you have to just give your resource name, workspace name, and everything. And once that is done, you'll be having a resource. So once that is done, you can the whatever the name you have given to the resource will be appearing in recent resources here. So this is the one which I had created before. So which is azdev-automl. You can create with whatever the name you prefer to. I'm going to launch the ML Studio. So launch Studio, which will take you to this one, and it supports dark mode, which is lovely, and it's very developer friendly. I love dark mode, but don't ask why I didn't apply that to my portal. So here we have like either you can go with data sets, you can create your own pipelines and do everything. But now we are going to do automated machine learning stuff. So go to automated machine learning and you will actually have all the stuff you are going to do here. We are going to actually do a simple experiment and we'll get started with. So for people who are actually using machine learning on daily basis or your experience with that, you might have come across a very popular dataset called Titanic survival dataset. So, or if like if you are new to this, I will explain what the dataset does. So Titanic, let me show you. You can find that in Kaggle. So it's a dataset which will actually predict whether a person will survive on Titanic. So it is like you're training a model with all the relevant details of the you like the passengers, and we also have an output like whether the person actually survived the Titanic crash or not. So if I give a particular has like the passenger ID survived or not, like whether the person survived the Titanic or not. What is the passenger class? What is the name? What is the gender and what's the age of the person? What's a sibling count? Like how many siblings did the this one had? Like what is a parental count? And what was the ticket ID they had? And what was the fare of the ticket they had? And so on. So with these, we'll be able to actually predict whether the person survived a Titanic crash or not. So for a fun scenario, let's try to like give an input of my own age or gender or everything. So if I actually was in Titanic, will I survive or not? You can test it out if you're feeling for fun. So, but let's now get started with. So what you have to do is first we need to create a data set. So whatever happens in machine learning starts with data set. So data set can be from either of so many this one so many sources. So it can be from your local files, or you can grab it from your data store, or you can also clone it from your open data sets. So as of now, I have downloaded that Kaggle file. You can upload it you want. So this is already uploaded. I have named this dataset as Titanic Survival. So I'm going with next. I let me actually zoom out. I guess how to zoom. One second. Let me zoom in for you guys. Okay, I guess now it's pretty good. So now we need to configure the run for that. So I'm going to create a new experiment. So which is like az dev Titanic experiment on, I'm going to do that on today's June 11, right? So June 11. Now, what is our target column? So the target column was like whether the person survived the crash or not. So it actually listed out all the columns which were present in the data set. So for now, survived is our target class. So select it. Now I'm going to select a cluster. So cluster is where your compute this one. So either you can go with creating a new compute part. So which means you'll be given an options to create your own compute part. So each has a cost. So make sure that you have cost in your mind before doing anything, so that you don't unnecessarily incur cost. So I'm going to actually go with the default ones, which is a very pretty good. It has got 12 cores and everything. You can check out the details if needed. I've already created a compute, so I'm going to select that. So I'll give you the feedback a little bit later. So I've already created a compute called azdev-compute. So which was actually DCD's compute. So you can just go and check out the documentation what it offers. So now I have configured the run. Next, I'm going to set up few tasks. Now we need to say what type of experiment we are going to do. It's a classification problem, right? So classification problem is where you actually say whether it is yes or no. Like the target will be some of a categorical value, like yes or no. Like it can be like blue, green colors or no. So for our scenario, like we are going to classify whether the person survived the crash or not. So which is yes or no. So obviously it's a classification problem. So if you're not aware of what is regression and stuff, don't worry, we'll be covering out, you can refer to the documentation, or if needed, we can ping back after the session to discuss more on that. And also we'll be having more session on Azure Machine Learning series, where we'll be again talking about basics on machine learning as well as Azure related stuff. If I need to actually enable deep learning, let's skip this part. It's not much necessary right now. Now let's go into feature selection and feature extraction. We have already said that the target column is survived, so it must be definitely included in the dataset, correct? Now, what is P class? So P class is where the passenger class is. So do you want to actually fill with, if, for example, let's assume like there are few columns or like not columns, for few rows have some missing values. So for this particular type of this one, the P class can be like either like a first class, second class, or third class of this one. So which is a categorical data. So I'm going to impute with most frequent. For this is like for this particular P class for any passenger, I'm going to pick out the most frequent class of the whole data set. I'm going to fill that missing part with that value. That's it. So just you can, if there is a gender missing, we can fill with more frequent, which means that is more appropriate, and age and stuff. So now let's decide uh, whether to include few columns or not. So I really don't want uh, the passenger ID and stuff. So I have removed it. So, and also we need the other columns. So everything is done. So let's go and get roller. So if you really, you can select like if there's the gender is a categorical value, and I can fill with most frequent value, and age is a numerical value, right? So suppose if person's age is missing, I can fill it with the the mean value of the person. For example, if I don't know really the age of the person, like filling with the mean will be more appropriate one. So I can fill it with mean and so on. So I can do that because that will help your this one to predict better. And also ticket. These are the ticket numbers. So ticket number does not really contribute whether you survive the crash or not. So I'm going to remove this one. I've already removed passenger ID, so I don't want ticket. So I have removed ticket here, and fare. We need the fare. Like, does the fare really contribute to whether the person survived or not? I guess not. So I'm going to remove it. So cabin might have really like whether if the person lived in a cabin which is situated at the lower deck, which means he had a very high chance of not surviving the crash. So let cabin also performs very good attribute to contribute whether the person survived the crash or not. So these are the way we need to actually figure out whether to include or not a few particular columns, and need to fill with values which might be like missing in the data set. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to view additional columns. Configuration is like the primary thing is like I want to predict is like since it's a classification problem, accuracy is not the actual metric to identify whether the model I mean like the model performed well or not. So the best thing is like either you can go with AUC or precision score. If you're not aware of these concepts, if you're a beginner, don't worry, it's not much relevant. So I'm going with precision score, and also I want the machine learning, automated machine learning, to explain me why it's a better model and what is the exit criteria. So now they have actually set up 6 hours. So if I want, I can set it for like uh, point. The experiment job time must be at least half an hour. So let's keep it. What's the metric threshold? It's like if uh, if a particular, like for the precision score is more than 0.9, that means I can stop uh, the training part. So I say like if it's more than 9, stop it. 0.9. What's a validation type? It can be like if you're not aware of it, just skip. Or if you're actually a machine learning person, you can understand what is k-fold and train validation split. Go with it. What's the percentage of the validation of data? Let's go with 20. 80-20 is a very good split. What is the maximum number of concurrent iterations it can have? It depends on the compute power which you actually do. Let's say if I click finish, now the model will get started running. So from the save you from the hassle of this one, and also I've already run the run. So let's go and check it out. The ones which I have already created. Yes, but do create. So this is one which I had actually created yesterday. So which will show me like these are the charts, like how many runs it has got in the highest accuracy is 0.85, and these are the runs. So it was created by me, who is Vivek Raja, correct? So the best model which it actually got is called voting ensemble. You really need to check out what is that. It will show you the relevant stuff, and it has got an accuracy of 0.82. And what were the metrics which it actually got, like AUC macro, what is the F1 score of zero point 0.8 and stuff, which is pretty good for any classification model. But it's, I would not say that's the best, but still it's a very decent and good accuracy. And also it can give you the explanations of why it actually got that accuracy and stuff, which infer it from few graphs of plotting it. So go with that, and I can also get the metrics of what was accuracy and what was the precision and everything. And it has all those graphs are being plotted here, which is very good. And this is a very good ROC curve if you actually know how the ROC works here. So what is these are the, if you actually know about how this works, and also you can add few things for the metrics you want to just see and stuff. So now we actually had created a machine learning run which actually tested me with so many models, and it fetched me the best model with the best accuracy. And now I can still, now it's not deployed, but I can deploy it with one single this one. So I'm going to this. So these are the actual models which it tested with. So voting ensemble was got the best accuracy, and these are the other models it tested out with. And uh, I can deploy the model with just one click, which means I can then do the prediction and stuff. So as of now, let's stop with this one because we have actually completed all the stuff. So for the deployments and understanding how the deployment works and how to actually test it out, everything, we will try to carry it out in further sessions. So I think now you might have gotten an idea like how easy it was for us to do machine learning with few minutes of stuff. So actually, those machine learning problem was run for half an hour, but still we got 0.8%, 80% of accuracy, which is pretty good. So If you want to actually start with machine learning, I have written a basic blog for beginners, so you can understand all the machine learning concepts in a very basic manner. Go and check it out in my Medium account. I will, so it's at Vivekraj98, and also Azure. You can take a screenshot if you need it and go for it. And also, I will share the deck. I will upload the deck and I will let you know where you can find the same. If you're trying Azure for the first time, you can get a free account by signing up, and you'll get 12 months of free access with $200 of credit. And to know how the automated machine learning works, you can find it here with along with the tutorials and code samples and everything. So right now I will take some questions before we conclude. So let me stop sharing my screen so that I can take a few questions here. So thanks for everyone who was joining in. Okay, Minion Grey, who's coming under some anonymous name, but how can we get help regarding certification threat? So we as a community or can reach out through our meetup page, and also we'll be planning out a few platforms where you can reach out separately. So if you really need a guidance, especially from me, you can reach out to my social handles in particular, or else if I can also connect you with other professionals and experts if needed. So hello and everyone, thanks for everyone joining in. And how will you reward a function machine? Okay, so when it comes to machine learning concepts, I guess you're referring to the recommendation system where you actually reward a particular machine, correct? So I will explain how those reinforcement learning work. Reinforcement learning have something called a reward function, which is nothing but a numerical value. So every time the model iterates a particular epoch, so what you have to do is like you evaluate whatever the actions were taken by the particular model for that particular course, and you assign a value for each actions that have taken. So the action might have led to a few positive consequences or negative consequences. So based on that, you sum up or you apply some mathematical functions to derive a cumulative value for that reward, and you update it to the reward value. So based on the reward value, if it is above a particular threshold, which means the model has performed in a positive way, and you will keep that if the model has the best reward so far, you keep that as a best course of action for the particular model. And if not, you keep training so that you attain a particular best model till you get the best model. So this will actually stop based on the time basis and other stuff. So if free accounts credits are used up, is there any way to attain credits? Try or we actually keep an eye on our future contest and everything. We might also get you Azure passes as one of the credit, stuff. But you are actually free to go and create as many free accounts as you need. So all you got to do is like sign up with new credit card details, and you're good to go for 1 month with $200 of credit. So you're actually part of community. Okay. So if you're actually part of community, do drop a message in the meetup, or else we actually I will announce the ways you can reach out to me before we conclude, so that you can reach out in one of the social handles. So let me share my screen before we go conclude here. I'm sorry. Let me make it as full screen. So much better. So we have got you covered. So in fact, if you have actually missed a session or something, so don't worry. We have a GitHub profile, which is my GitHub handle, which is Vivek0712, which has a repo called az.tn. We will be updating all the presentation decks of every users and also whatever discussions we have so far. And if you missed any meetups, those meetup related details will be there. I'm sorry, let me actually take the comment off so that, okay, better. All right. So, and also you can get access to the presentation deck, and also will give you the stats of how many people attended every meetup and everything. So it's like my personal metric to show how people are engaging in the community. And if you really want to start an open source project, we'll be allowed to be part of it. And if you need any expertise or report, just ping us and we'll help you out. And if you need any resources for getting started with Azure, or if you're stuck in few concepts, or if you are facing any technical issues or stuff, So you can also be ping us and we will supply for the same. And as a community, we actually provide content in a lot of ways, which includes both videos, blogs, and a lot more. So keep an eye on the blogs which we community users and organizers write, which will also help you to do that. And also, besides that, we do fun contests and we have got memes and many more to reach out in much more in informal way as well. And the best part is, as a community, we are doing so better, and we also got featured in Microsoft newsletter. So one of our earlier sections, which was held by me, was featured there, and our GitHub profile, which we were talking in the earlier one, it got featured in this. So get started with it. I hope the banner is hiding. It's not. Is an issue. And last meetup was also mentioned in the month of June's newsletter. You can find us on azdev.confirm.com. We are available on Meetup, on Twitter, and LinkedIn. So you can drop a message and we will reach out to you. So, Minnie and Ray, if you really want to reach out on a professional way, on a common basis, you can reach out to any of the handles. Or if you need to actually reach out to me in person, and also for the informal talks and tips and everything, we have just started a clubhouse room called Azure Dev Community. Search it and you'll find the same. Join in, and we'll be actually hosting few informal talks and rooms then and there. You can also check out my blogs where I write blogs in Medium as well as Dev. I have written a couple of good Azure related blogs. Go and check it out. It has some amazing use cases. And before we conclude, I think we have one more question from Shivaram. He's asking, is there any dashboard Azure tools like automated? I'm not sure, I'm not able to get your question actually. But Azure Portal actually, it whatever we have done so far for automated machine learning services, it was completely UI and it's completely automated, right? So we didn't actually interfere or do any sort of coding, but we got the best model and we are able to deploy it. So I think that would answer your question. I'm not very sure, but if you still want to get clarified, you can connect with me a little bit later. I'm available in LinkedIn, Twitter, and GitHub. These are my handles, and also join us for Clubhouse if you are really interested in. We'll have a chat there. Automated dashboard creation using ML. Actually, dashboard in the sense that does not come under machine learning, right? So if you are telling about websites or stuff, we already have covered a couple of meetup sessions earlier. You can check it out in the YouTube section. Or if needed, we will connect a little bit later. We'll discuss on that. So until next time, be safe. Completely out of COVID, so wash your hands often, use sanitizer, maintain social distancing, get vaccinated at the first earlier time you opportunity you get. So thank you everyone. Stay safe and stay fine and happy weekend. And thank you and Nandri.